It's the weekly 30-30 trading list on the ASX, where we're reviewing the 30 best momentum companies over the last quarter and those that have had the best improvement in the last week. Gary Glover has been through both lists to pull out the best trading shares and companies or charts that we can learn from. Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Good, Chris. Yeah, we're definitely in sync today like we normally are. Same colours.
Same colours, yes. We definitely sent the memos and went to the wardrobe and makeup couldn't do the best with me, but we'll run with that. Before we were talking about the volatility that we saw yesterday with the XJO. So on expiry day, options expiry, we see a lot moving around. So there's a fair bit happening on the large end of town, but I think you've noticed a few things in the momentum companies. So when you're looking at the quarterly momentum, what's standing out to you, companies or the like?
Yeah, look, a few more smaller names in there. There's been some big moves, really. So I guess there's just a ton of stocks that could be in that quarterly momentum as well. So I think I sort of said there's a few there that have run pretty hot here. You know, it's like some bigger caps and stuff there as well. So there really is so many stocks here that could be in that list. Because there really is so many stocks that have really been trending upwards here for the last 18, 19 weeks there. So it's been some pretty aggressive moves in a lot of the stocks here. So just some big moves across the board in lots of stocks here. So a few more smalls in this week. In the weekly list, obviously, there's definitely a new flavour in there, which is sort of standing out. But we can get to that later on. But in the quarterly list, there's plenty of like big mix of stocks in there, sort of bigs and smalls. But there is plenty of big caps that probably aren't in there that have done pretty well as well. So there's just really, there's probably twice as many stocks that could be in that list than there normally are. Whereas like normally, sometimes you can be searching for sort of stocks that probably
questionable.
Yeah,
it's great from the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, to be in there. At the moment, yeah. There's plenty of great stocks that haven't made the list, I guess is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. And we know from history, so doing this all the way through the COVID times, we noticed that when there were times like this where we were sport for choice for momentum, what we call a momentum profile was just running off the charts. So that means it's like a momentum trader's dream, and there's just so many different opportunities to choose from. Nonetheless, we're choosing the top 30 from the momentum score. So LBT's one that's come out of this week's lists. What else has come out?
Yeah, if you look at those, if you look at those percentages, Chris, on the the quarterly performance for those, like just looking at the top 17 stocks there, you got from basically 80, 122, 152, 185, 170, 204%. So there's some big gains in there, So there's some monster quarterly performance amongst that group there. So that tells me, this market's a little bit pretty hot, pretty frothy, you might sort of say. So I'd imagine that when we get so many stocks making those sort of big moves there, that's got to be probably telling you the market's, at the pointy end, So there's that. We kind of, there's a couple of stock market phrases come to mind when I see a market like this, but maybe we'll save those quotes for later. Yeah.
Well, that's why we're leaning on you to dissect the technical side of the charts. So you got something for us to sink our teeth into or learn a lesson from on the technical side?
Yeah, there's a few in there. Number 2, LBT is pretty small there. I know FND, which is one that we sort of spoke about there, had that really bullish move, big volume there, and then went through a consolidation there. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for this, stocks that jump out of the gates, big volume, and then go through a consolidation and then break a B wave. So that's, if we can kind of just simplify it down to what we're looking for, that's what we've. If you listen to Kalamagi as well, he's often looking for those sort of leading stocks that stocks that are showing real sort of strength, and then have the pause and then start to go again. That's really what we're trying to find here. So look, that's a monster move. Not only having this move here out of the break here, what's that breaking out of a $1.03 end up getting to 170 there. So, geez, it's a 70% move here just out of the gates within a matter of, 5 to 7 days there. It's had another pause here. Again, you sort of don't see any volume come in, and then you see it go off again, and then you see volume come in. Has a little pause, nice and tight here. Done the old David Ryan, congestion under the high here, and then kind of go again. It's funny, I think I mentioned to you previously, I'm seeing this over and over again, Chris, is that I'm someone who looks for that false break a lot, sort of like a margin new high, margin new low. It's a bit of a negative sign there. Some of these strongest momentum stocks there, they will go and make a margin new high, and then they'll go and do like a little sideways shimmy down. So you can get your false break, which can be looks like a negative there, and then it sort of breaks down here, but then we don't see any volume. And then what it does, it just stays nice and tight for a few days. So I've noticed now, this is something I've been seeing over and over again, is that momentum stock go to a new high, then basically just congest back here. It can be 3 or 4 days, or it can be even maybe 5 or 6 days, nice and tight, and then it turns up. That should be followed. That setup there. I've literally just taken a few pictures this morning, and I've got to put it in my diary there as a setup to keep an eye on there. But I just keep seeing that. I've seen that over and over again in the last few weeks. There's a few setups I've talked about recently, which I just kept seeing. Obviously, come back to the 50-day moving average. Seen that quite a bit. But yeah, definitely seeing this sort of margin new high, come back, ingest and pop there. And I'll show you a few of them there. I think
sounds a bit like the David Ryan setup you were talking about, but with the false break as sort of the indicator to start looking for it.
Yeah, you can sort of see it here. Even though this one's coming out of the low here, it's had a bit of a good volume there, pull back, goes to a slight new high, which is probably a bit negative there. It could be like a little ABC, but then it doesn't sell off, just stays nice and tight here, and then it breaks up. It's probably 5 or 6 days, so definitely seeing that sort of setup, over, even on some of the stronger names as well. So definitely sort of something to, keep an eye on there. So, and it's one that I've written in my sort of trading diary. I'm going to try and look for that pattern over and over again now. And so, we sort of see a certain trade set up here. So, look, this number 5 on the list is zip there. Gee, that's that whole thing's sort of ascending. The whole thing's basically extending up here. So I remember, Bill McLaren used to talk about 3 ascending trend lines. So basically, you sort of get your basing pattern, then you basically your next angle start to build, and then you started to get vertical there. So what he was looking for, once it's in the 3rd ascending trend line, is looking at momentum, and so those things can sort of keep going. Once they start vertically getting a vertical trend there, then they can get pretty scary. But these things do tend to, overshoot here. So that's, once they're winding up, this is a trend that's not slowing down. It's actually getting more and more aggressive. And they're the ones that actually pop and accelerated higher. So what you're actually looking for there is a loss of momentum. So if you get a pullback and it doesn't go to a new high in the same amount of time or less, then you're at risk. Because normally what happens in those sort of aggressive trends is that you'll see that the pullbacks get shorter in time, and oftentimes they'll get shorter in size as well. They get narrower and they'll get fewer days and stuff there. So really, as it's getting more and more aggressive, the pullbacks will be shorter and shorter and shorter. So, and eventually you'll get a correction and get an overbalance of the trend there. And once you're overbalanced, then you'll go back and make a lower high. That's all over. So this is pretty aggressive, pretty moving up here. The whole thing is accelerating. It's gone from hugging the 50, hugging the 20, now hugging the 10. So you got to, if you're along this, you've got to stay long here. But, this is going to, at some stage, it's going to sort of end here. And it will overbalance there, because that's, those vertical trends, once they're on the 3rd trend line, they're getting really aggressive there. So I know, guys like, Beanie would be probably trading some in the heat, so probably would be taking some off here, but you can sort of stay with those moves until they break here. So at this stage, you probably don't want to see it break the 10. That's sort of been holding here recently. ASN, bit of a B-wave break in here. So look, you had a little bit of a move here. Did come down here. You had this sort of jump here. That was probably the only little signal you got there. So pretty hard to trade there. You'd have to be really watching this one pretty closely. It wasn't sort of showing relative strength. And even that sort of jump there, it's probably a bit of a hard one to sort of find there, really. And BAA was sort of one that sort of had that sort of big gap up there. Just had that big selling there. That was a bit of a warning for me. And even here, we're seeing a bit of selling as well. So, the setup still looks okay here, but just notice there's a lot less volume here coming in on the way up there. So, to me, it's probably an avoid for me. It's just one that I'm not that keen on there. This is a bit of a thinner one here. I just noticed this sort of pattern happening quite a bit here at the moment, Chris. There's a lot of sort of cup and handles sort of setting up throughout the market. You can see this is sort of wound up here. I do see some bigger volume through here, which is a good sign. Goes back to the high there. That just sort of does that little tight congestion under the high there. So just only a little handle, but goes back to retest the high here, good volume, and then you just don't see any selling here. And then we're popping through. So, this would have been, even though it's a sort of probably less liquid stock there, that was a good sign here this day here. Bit of volume there, little handle, closing in a new high there. That's the sort of, well, it's not probably a leading stock there. That is the sort of Davis box there, sort of, 52-week high, closing a new high there. So you can buy those breaks there. So most people are reluctant to buy those, but they can keep going there. 360 there, talk about this one there. I didn't trade this one particularly well, actually. Sort of did get set on this, did like this. Did have a pretty powerful move and sort of traded out of it. But, really, there's these sort of game changer trades. I've seen them, they sort of gap up. They do keep running for a bit. We do have this little 1, 2, 3 thrust sort of little pop here now. So that's probably a little bit of a precursor to be cautious here now. But we're seeing here this game changer with, MP1, they tend to, you get this really good news and then they gap up and then they run, and they will tend to run sort of 3 to 5 days at least there. So, if you're like me and took your profit early here, probably just, again, it's sort of, as traders, sometimes you're up 30, 40% and you're up pretty big on your P&L. You just, it's been slim pickings. You're inclined to take it pretty quick. But probably should hang on a bit longer than with that sort of setup there. Just we've seen in the past there that probably 3 to 5 days would be the minimum move for those game-changing trades there. So again, probably just take a picture, snapshot, put it in your file, make some notes, keep a list of your little game changer trades there. So when you see them in the past, so you can go back and look at all your game changer trades in the past, and you can if you've got like a whole suite of them there, maybe 10 or 20 of them, you can go back and actually review them all and see what they did. And then
what the kind of behaviours like.
Yeah, you get a bit more confidence there as well. So, you got to try and build up a library of all these trades there. So as I mentioned, I'll write those setups there, but then keep them in a file, and then, so you can do it manually, which is a bit hard to do. Nowadays with all the tech and stuff there, there's, different instruments there you can. So I've been using that Notion, which is you can basically cut and paste and then make notes on there. It keeps a library of all the, chronologically as well. So, and you can just give each sort of setup a different, 0, 1, 2, 3, false break, or BCP, cup and handle, game changer. So just keep cutting and pasting, making some notes, put it in there. Definitely, worth keeping up a library there. And if you talk about, if you listen to all the great traders and stuff there, they do that. They probably narrow their focus on probably few of the setups, but then they just build up libraries of that setup there over and over again, and keep sort of studying it. So human beings are very, short memories, as we've talked about, 30% of our memories are totally false. 55% are, exaggerated. So, it's important to sort of, we think we know, but reality, history shows that we don't really know. So put it in a library, build it, just keep going back and, kind of build up your knowledge there of those things there. And probably don't try to do too much as well. In the past, I used to have 10 setup secrets, which is probably too many. Now sort of brought it back to sort of 5 there. And I'm still thinking that's too many, but my performance has probably doubled since I halved the number of setups I look at. So probably should be halving it again, hopefully. But yes, pretty hard to do. But yeah, the best traders, I mean, I think Minibini just trades BCPs only. So obviously there's a few variations in those, but just trader one set up there. I mean, Kalamagi just trades stocks at 98, 99% relative strength. He doesn't look at anything else. So, a lot to be said for just streamlining and keeping it simple. AXE, this is a pretty interesting one there. Kind of a bit of a jump in volume there. A little bit of a VCP sort of setting up in there, and then a bit of a break up there. So this one has gone to a new high here. So, it doesn't look too bad there. There's a reasonable volume on the up days there. So definitely getting some momentum there. So AXE doesn't look too bad to me. Arafura there, a bit of a change of character as well. Did draw a bit of selling in there. Obviously, did have a bit of a pretty small stock there. Probably a lot of losers along the way here. So once we sort of jump up here, see how the selling got drawn in, some pretty big selling there. So that's probably a bit of a negative there, seeing that much selling come in. BBS is probably the biggest lesson here in this whole move here, because we can see that this has just gone up impulsively and gone downwards in a corrective sort of sideways manner. Impulsive and then corrective. Impulsive and then corrective, and it's gone up impulsive again, corrective there, just hung to 50, impulsive again and hung to 50 again, impulsive, corrective, impulsive, corrective. So it just basically it wants to go up quickly. When it goes down slowly. It's that's sort of classic sort of if you understand what an impulsive trend is and what a corrective trend is there, that just sort of glorifies what we're really sort of trying to look for there as well. So look for the stocks that have the big pops, have the the one thing you're seeing here with all these pops here, Chris, is volume. So big volume on the pops, and then it all dries up. Big volume on the pops here. And the whole thing all just dries up. Selling dries up. The volume comes in again. And then we pull back here, all that. Still no selling coming in. So a little bit of volume of the jump here. Again, the whole thing just tightens up. The volume's just dried completely up again. The volume's come straight back in again. Even though it looks long, at that stage, it probably looked really long in the tooth there. Buying it at 80 cents here, but we've gone to 150 there. Stock's up, 70, 80% here. Even though this is probably after it's already doubled in value. So, this is a lesson here is that, if you're not sort of seeing that sort of selling there, you're seeing corrective sort of sideways orientation there, no selling coming in. Those are stocks we've got to be looking at. They're the stocks that have been showing strength, being impulsive, and the stocks that when they go through their correction, they're just not selling off there. So, that's probably a great lesson there is that BBS there. It can be a little choppy to trade that one there, but did not show any weakness at all. Still hasn't sort of shown any weakness as well here. Email's pretty interesting there. That's potentially a big sort of cup here at the moment. So has sort of rounded up there. There was a little VCP in here, Chris. Whole thing tightened up here and then broke through. So did break through after breaking through $1 here. There's a little VCP in here. And now it's gone back up to retest the high here. Definitely lots of stocks in this sector there by now sort of come to life here. So it is a sector under a bit of accumulation at the moment. But again, we've now gone to the high here. We're just congesting on the high here. So far, not much selling so far. So nice to sort of see this, nice handle maybe extended there. But you definitely sort of wanted to sort of keep an eye on it. I think BGL, there's a couple of golds in there. Bit funny the gold here, Chris. Actually, I mean the gold price is on fire, yet the gold stocks really aren't. I actually cut a couple of my gold stocks the other day because I just didn't really like the way they were trading. And I've found in the past that the gold stocks tend to lead the commodity.
The commodity itself, yeah.
So oftentimes the gold stocks start to move first before the gold moves. That's the way I've generally found it. So if they're gold's going crazy and the stocks are lagging, that's just not a good sign for me. That's telling me to be a bit cautious there. So I know some of them have been okay here, but just haven't seen the conviction there. Like when Uranium was on fire there, the trend was strong and they were impulsive and pulling back corrective, but it was showing real strength. They just kept going. Even the lithium stocks were the same. They just didn't show any weakness, pull back. But some of the gold stocks have shown, a fair bit of weakness, a real sort of scattered approach there across those gold stocks there. And having sort of traded gold in the past there, I reckon probably 30-40% of the time that it does let you down. So it's always one of those stocks like, one of those sectors that sort of got a history of sort of letting, not really firing up all the time. So, just mindful of that fact that it is, the gold is so strong here, but the stocks, like some of them being okay there. I think PRU has been pretty solid there. That's sort of shown relative strength there. That's sort of one that I did sort of trade there. But again, it's sort of going to go to a new high here and kind of come back here. I think CMM did the same there. It went to a new high there, and it's come all the way back, kind of bounced off the previous little swing high and bounced again. So it might be okay here. But yeah, just a real, real mixed bag. Even Northern Star sort of, after sort of breaking up to a new high, come all the way back again. It's looking okay here, but if the gold prices are new highs here, they should be firing up here, breaking out, showing real strength. But it's not sort of seeing that, so that does worry me a little bit. You just want to, you want to see the commodity doing well and the stocks doing well, and then showing strength there. So, that's just from my experience there. That's the quarterly list they've done anyway.
So that's the quarterly momentum leaders. If when we look over at the weekly, the ones with the best weekly performance movement or momentum improvement, are you finding any group or thematic or anything that stands out to you in that list of the Launchpad leaders? Yeah,
there's an obvious group there in there. There's like Uranium list again. So it's funny, actually, I did notice that some of the energy stocks, it's sort of, I'm not sure what they call it in the US there, dirty energy or, but.
Oh, yeah. The old-fashioned,
Yeah, there's a few different indices there. So I noticed a couple of indices there, and I was trying to work out what it was. But then I worked out what it is sort of now there, but was, around a lot of those stocks there. Because I think I was looking at some of the coal stocks. I thought it might have been, dirty energy might have been coal. But the coal stocks weren't really moving that strong here. But this uranium is one that's really been pretty robust there. So, I mean, we had, I think ERA was number 6 on the list. That sort of had a nice pullback there and had a bit of an impulsive bounce. Number 7, which is Uranium, which is one we traded before. So all that volume there, that's pretty strong volume. So has had the deep volume here, pullback here. It's weird. I've noticed a lot of these sort of high momentum stocks there, they can have that deep correction. And then once they turn there, they can really, I've seen these sort of stocks here come back below the 50, and then once they turn and find a low, they can go straight back up to a high in a quick period of time. So kind of what you're looking for there is almost this, you want to see the signs of a low, but then you want to sort of see, that daily range broken as well. So I look for that 0, 1, 2, 3 pattern. So I'll wait for the 4th high and low, and then I'll wait for the range for the day to be broken before I would enter it. So I've noticed there were some of these stronger stocks sectors that have been on fire. Once they have that, maybe they do have this sort of sell-off, they can reverse. I've noticed a lot of these reversals there, they don't just build, they just go straight back up to a new high in really quick time. So there's good volume here. So there's no reason why this can't go to $4 here in quick time. And that's something I've seen a lot of with some of these sort of momentum names, is when they do cool off, once they reverse and find it low, just straight back up again. So those Uranium do look pretty good there. I mean, there's Paladin's on the list as well. Again, pretty robust sort of volume there. This is probably a bit nicer there because it sort of had a nice bounce there, sort of squared off here. A little bit of a sideways congestion, and once you break out of that little B wave, that sort of kicked on here. So it looks pretty good. We can make up 150 here. Just probably worth looking at some of those old names like the Whitehaven stuff. They go back to look at how they traded into their high previously. They sort of did have these little congestions and then pull back and then shoot up there. So, but yeah, just yeah, they all look pretty solid there, but just wondered how long it might be. I think Deep Yellow was on the list as well. So again, pretty chunky volume. So that's what you want to see. You see a nice pullback, you see the volume come in. That's when you can actually have legs there. So they all look all right. I think number 2 on the list was Atomic, which is sort of like, we call it all those titanium metals and stuff there, 3D coding sort of stuff there. So interesting stock there, a little small. This one's probably a bit of a watch for me just because it sort of has come back to the high here. Probably would like to see it maybe congest again, but some good volume on this last drive here. That's pretty chunky for the stock here. So it's good for this stock. You just probably want to see this congestion, maybe pull back, maybe make a handle, but it is a little small, probably small for me. XAM, just wonder what's their possible change of character because we've sort of been in a bit of a downtrend here. So we have broken a swing high, so probably want to see some sort of congestion there. JMS, again, just some pretty big volumes there. I had a bit of an impulsive move, maybe change of character. So again, probably add it to your watch list. Maybe bunting in, pretty interesting. So this is sort of like most of those retailers have been on fire here. So is this a case of sort of just joining the party late, or is this maybe change of character? So a bit of a hard one there, but has had a bit of a move up there. Did break a little bit of a B1. It's a possible change of character, but yeah, probably just want to watch that one. Wouldn't say it's the top retailer, so it's definitely not the leader. So you just have to be a little bit careful in there. TLX is there's that sort of, go to a new high cruise and then that sort of, so probably like it to be a little bit more congesting, but they could see the volume wasn't too heavy in there, and then it's sort of broken up again. That's when they can kind of go. So when they break up here, you are going to move to a new high here. So, but I am mindful. I'm sort of seeing a lot of stocks do this 1, 2, 3 overlapping there. Sort of think one that comes to mind is something like a Dares had a pretty strong run, and then that's 1, 2, 3 overlapping tops. I just know that's like that broadening type of 3 thrust high. That's a bit of a bearish setup all the time when you see the overlapping peaks and stuff. You see a lot of miners, sort of stocks, BHP and Rios do the run. Then they do the overlapping top there. So that overlapping is like a strong trend will just sit on top of it, and then a really strong trend will leave spacing. And then once you start overlapping the highs and lows, you're losing momentum. So you can see here we're actually, a lot of stocks here are losing momentum. They're starting to overlap. So just a bit of a concern for me, seeing that overlapping tops here quite a bit. One stock there, A1M, a lot of people talking about this stock here. Must be a copper stock here. So just nice, pretty good volume popping out of here. So pretty decent. The weekly, so possible change of character. Pretty decent volume here. It's broken a swing high in there, so maybe the downtrend might be broken here. So it's just I know quite a few fundies talk about this stock here. A few traders talk about this stock. Just quite a popular stock. I don't know if that's good or bad being too popular, but yeah, definitely some conviction in this move here. So definitely one stock to put on the radar there. Just keep an eye on there. And I think that's kind of it, really. Yeah. So I think most of the others, there's a few little uranium names there, probably less impressive there. But there's a few sort of I noticed a few sort of strong stocks there, Chris. That apart from the A1M there, I noticed things like NXT. I mean, they've had that really strong run. The whole price action is all tightening up here. I think REH as well. Again, really strong move. The whole thing's tightening up here again. Just seeing a lot of these strong stocks here having a little bit of a pause here. So tightened up again. So PEXA, which has again had a pretty good run, just sort of popped out of the range here as well after a bit of a consolidation there. So maybe a little bit of a cup and handle in there as well. So just seeing a lot of those sort of setups there where there's that little, kind of cup and handle again as well. Came up to the high here, congested under the high and then broke through. So definitely seeing lots of little cup and handles throughout the market there. Just so many, all those sort of leading stocks there that are made out there. So, even sort of something like a jumbo then has had a pretty good move and then just tightened up here. So, just a lot of leading stocks have really moved up here and tightening up here. So, they're all going to break down and let us down, or they're going to continue on. There's quite a few of them are broken up here, but definitely noticing a lot of that type of activity throughout the market there.
Okay, so as you're noticing that, and definitely the fast run with good volume, then pull back with lighter volume. You mentioned just earlier that there might be some things to quote or some insights to share. Is there a particular quote or trader that's coming to mind with this kind of market activity, and you're thinking, what, this is standing out. This is kind of the lesson to learn. They've told us before we should really heed this advice or this insight.
Well, the market's been so hot here, and really has sort of run so hot here. Just haven't seen too many sort of failures yet. Just seeing a couple of failures there, but just it just sort of feels a bit late stage here. I know what's the Jesse Livermore quote there? It's a time to go long, a time to go short, a time to go fishing. It's probably time to go fishing, So it's had a cracking run here. Some money has been made here. Just feels very late stage here. So this is a point where oftentimes you start to give money away. You get caught up in the hype and FOMO, and then you start to take trades on, and you probably relax a little bit in terms of your risk management, and you can get caught here. So this is the time not to relax on your risk management. If you're going to keep taking trades, this is the time to I would actually probably keep your trade size down, and I would probably keep your risk down as well. So this is a point where people have been running, making money here, and then they just keep probably increase their bets, increase their risk, and probably maybe even stop. Forget to put some of the stops down. I'll be fine. The market just keeps going up. You sort of complacency sort of sets in. So I mean, I do like there's sort of I think there's a quote there about that most traders could learn to sit on their hands 50% of the time. They would make a lot more money. I think we're almost at that point here. We could be approaching that point where it might be time to sort of sit on our hands, sit back here. So still a few trades in there. I just think keep it tight here. Just to me personally, I've been trying to, I normally risk 1% of my capital at the moment. I'm trying to keep it under 0.5%. Yeah, so if I'm going to be wrong here, I want to lose half as much as I'm prepared to normally. I just feel like it's market's so close here to peaking there, and I noticed, Chris, too, that, that if you look at the S&P 500 and NASDAQ and stuff, they're up 30, over 30% for the NASDAQ, like 26, 27% for the S&P, 18, 19 weeks there. One observation there, if you go back and look at 2018, 19, 20, maybe even 21 there, we had a lot of turns on the equinox and the solstice sort of date. So, more so on the equinox, so on the we were in that 21st, 22nd of March, 21st, 22nd of September. Just a lot of sort of whether it's a minor turning point, so we get a 4 or 5 day reaction, or we get a big reaction. But throughout that period there, we definitely saw a lot of turns there. So I find when most of the normal cycles aren't working, that one works pretty well, and when the normal cycles are working, it'll just tend to avoid it. So at the moment, most of the other cycles don't seem to be in play here. So quite wary of the market that's run pretty hot up into the equinox. And we've had, I think most of the indices have had about 4 distribution days over the last 2 weeks as well, Chris. So we've seen some heavier selling on some of the down days as well, which I hadn't seen for a long time. So, so I'm a little nervous here. Where the market's at. So it is definitely time to, just tighten your positions up here. Don't relax. Don't get complacent here. I think that this is the point where traders will give back a lot of their gains they've made here over the last sort of 3 months there. So don't be one of those. Try and tighten up here. Be even more diligent than you normally are. This is the time to be almost double diligent. So, be extra cautious here right now.
Well, that's a good insight, especially a good metric that you've shared there is normally you're risking 1%. Yeah, is that per position? But now you've cut it down to 0.5% per position?
Yeah, so I have 1% maximum position, and I normally like to sort of scale up into that position there. So I might sort of start with maybe 0.5%, and then as I sort of grow the position, I'll try and move my stop up and then add the position on. So my goal is to sort of try and get up to 15-20% position size, but never exceeding the 1% risk. So I can get, if I can get that position on under 1% risk, with a good risk reward, then great. But I'm definitely trying to build into it. But at the moment here, I feel like position size should be a bit smaller, and your risk should be probably half of what you normally would do there. So for me, I just don't want to be going over 0.5% really. So if my normal risk is 1%, I want to keep a maximum capped here. So, I put a trade on here in the last day or two, and probably had it probably about 0.25% risk there. So keeping it pretty small here. So if you're only taking $400 or $500 sort of little haircuts and stuff there, that's fine there. So if we got to sort of in this game we gotta get comfortable with losing, but we just got to be comfortable with losing small. So when we're going to win big, that's the key to the successful trading longer term. So, but if we can, if the market does turn here a little bit, we got to learn to sort of sit on our hands too, because we can keep playing. If the market, you hear men of any say all the time. It's sort of green light environment. If the setups stop working, the market sort of starts losing momentum there. Then he'll start taking smaller bets, and then the market's basically telling him that's not right. So then he'll sort of ease off there. So if you've been following Anabini's actually already started to trim, and he thinks the market's getting a little stretched here. So I think he has downsized his sort of betting profile there. So probably one of the best is telling us to be cautious here, which probably should be listening.
Well, he's been around the block a few times, and he's made a few quid along the way. So we'll take those insights as well as yours, and he'd stay caution. So thank you very much, Gary Glover from Novus Capital.
Thanks, Chris.
Gary's just mentioned following Mark Minavini. You can also follow Gary himself with the Twitter handle over there on the left, and there's a whole playlist back on the Final Market Points channel where we go through a whole different sets of things, setups, and Gary's Tuesday report as well.